Belf here today, and today's a bit of more of a somber tone. I wanted to share a little bit about some of the challenges I've had in sort of building my business and working with clients, but also I wanted to share some really important insight that I got from listening to a gentleman called Glenn Baird at the recent Affinia conference. In particular at this point in time where, you know what, there's a lot floating around. It's really easy to get overwhelmed, and sometimes that overwhelm can turn into depression. It can turn into, frankly, burnout, and it can definitely turn into feeling like there's no way out. So I want to share with you what I learned from Glenn, but also a little bit about, frankly, what I find hard to do and some of the ways that I deal with it. Anyway, stay tuned. I want to talk about, what you need to do when things aren't going well. You know what? I often talk to people on the program about cortisol in people's system and the fact that, you meet these people sometimes who are so driven. They're focused on their end game and they just need to go, 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 go. And the truth is that in a lot of these people, that drive is driven by something called cortisol, which is a fight-flight chemical that floods people's body. For a whole bunch of reasons, it's often found in people whose parents weren't around that much when they were younger. More about that if you're interested. But here's the thing. Whilst this sort of chemical in your body is great, it drives you to constantly looking for the next thing. The problem is, A, it's not good for you. It's really bad on your system because it floods you with adrenaline. But secondly, often it can put you in the place of being that kind of person who is equipped to get where you want to, but will never enjoy it because you never stop. I find myself often, getting to this space, where you're constantly, driving towards something, and because you're not there, you feel like a little bit of a failure. You know what I mean? One of the best books I read on this was by Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now. And I can honestly say it was probably one of the best books I've read in the last 10 years. And he made the comment that a lot of this, mental illness, as he calls it, is caused by humans who spend a lot of their time inside their thinking mind. In other words, we're thinking about the potential future. It doesn't exist yet, but we're making up in our head the bad things that could happen, the great things that could happen, how far away we are. And sometimes, reflecting back on the past, the friends that we don't make contact with, the arguments we had that we wish we could fix, the family members we wish we'd be closer with. Meanwhile, the only thing that actually exists is now. Like the future doesn't exist. We make it up in our heads, and the past is just a memory. As Glenn said, right now, in the industry, there's a lot going on. A lot of advisors out there must be worried about their businesses. They must be worried about their livelihoods. They're probably stressing or they're feeling angry. They want to fight it. Alternatively, some people are like, I'm just leaving it, the fight-flight thing. In other words, whether or not you're pre-attuned to this cortisol, there's a good chance that the pressure being put on by the media, by the commissions, by the extra thing licensees may be putting us all in fight-flight. There's two things I want to say about that. If you find yourself in that situation like I have, sometimes the best thing to do is to try and shut off your head, to just focus on what's going on right now. Some people, if you want to meditate, exercise is great for this, as Glenn himself said. In other words, stop letting your egoic mind make stuff up or go back to the past and just look around and breathe in. Focus on the temperature, look at what's happening, listen to the sounds in the background, and be intensely aware of what's happening in this present moment. The second thing Glenn mentioned is talk to someone. Glenn was actually kind enough to give everybody who came along a card with the ability to reach out to the AFA counselling service. And last week I made connection with Ben Elliott, who's, those of you on the program will know, is a performance coach and one of the best in Australia. I hadn't spoken to him for months. And I was really resistant to speaking to Ben. So I was like, I don't need his help. But the moment I started talking to him, I realized that just talking about this and being honest about what was right and what was wrong, I left feeling lighter. I left very aware of how lucky I am to have certain things. And yeah, sure, you know what? We all want to be in a different place, but it's a journey, right? Anyway, I wanted to share a bit about this because two things really came out of it. If you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling put upon, if you can't see the way out of it at the moment, then first thing, take some time to stop, take a deep breath and realize, sometimes just realizing that the future hasn't happened yet and the past is just something in your head. The only thing we have now is now. Maybe doing some exercise, shutting your head off, meditating is good. But alternatively, you know what? Talk to someone. Nobody should go through the situation they are now without getting some of it out. So anyway, hopefully this was useful. If you're struggling a bit and you'd like some help, you'd like sort of the name of Ben or someone else to talk to, please drop me an email. Be completely anonymous. I'm happy to sort of suggest. I'll be honest with you, I've spoken to a number of counselors, performance coaches and other people, and I've been the better for it along the way. you know what? Even those who on the outside seem to be doing okay, we all have our downsides. I think one of my favorite sayings is, everybody you meet every day on the street is struggling with something that you have no idea about. I think the challenge is don't struggle alone. Anyway, part confessional, part sharing what I've learned. Hopefully useful. Have a great week.